have help right around the corner.
Well, we'll see what happens here. Wonder if things will change here in the draft. Camille, the first ban for Echo Fox, as we get into it for game number 2. Don't think TSM will change up too much here, although Red Side will have some differences. Be interested to see what Echo Fox kind of prioritize. I feel like Lulu at some point is going to get banned, although I think TSM will do that for them at least on this side.
Yeah, you would think that Lulu is a first pickable champion at this stage in the game, so Echo Fox shouldn't ban it unless Gate is unwilling to first pick it for whatever reason. Fairly similar bans to game 1.
Yep, Vladimir banned again, so that's going to get taken away by Echo Fox. Bjergsen's been one of the few players that's really been playing it. I feel like maybe a third of the mid laners here in the LCS have really picked up Vlad, but certainly a strong champion. Something that Echo Fox maybe don't have as much experience with. TSM, though, keeping it standard, banning away that Malzahar. I imagine Lulu follows for them, but Echo Fox actually banning away the Nautilus, so one of the biggest champions for Haunts are now taken away as well.
Yeah, I mean, Haunter has been so effective on tanks this split. It had been the Maokai. Maokai's received some nerfs, so it turned to the Nautilus in that last game. Not was a big playmaker, but what's super interesting here is we just had that big discussion about Lulu.
Yep.
When Echo Fox bans the Nautilus, they're almost trying to set up the Rumble that can't get easily punished. Hard to imagine TSM not taking Lulu on this rotation.
Yeah, I mean, Rumble's a good champion here, but not sure Echo Fox want to trade it for 2 other champions, so I imagine one of them is going to be Lulu. Haunts is having some fun. Haven't seen his Aurelia in a long time, even though once upon a time it was a decent matchup. There's the Lulu we expected. That's not the pick we expect next. But I mean, Caitlyn's an option here if TSM want to take that away. Rengar also good. TSM going to lock that in.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that TSM would be disrupted by if they pulled together the same type of team composition is the fact that they don't have the Nautilus. They can still do all the other stuff that works so well. And even after losses many times this split, TSM hasn't varied their team composition for a series. So they're absolutely ready to re-rack and play it again.
I mean, we'll see what they do here, because Lee Sin Ezreal means it's identical looking for Echo Fox so far. TSM might lock in their AD carry, but they've got a decent number of options. Kind of curious to see what they do want to pick away here, but going to keep it safe. And then I think if they do get the chance to run it back, they'll happily do so.
Yeah, the Caitlyn is also available that they could pick here if they really wanted to do the Lulu Caitlyn that everyone else has been doing. But they're going with the Ashe this time. One thing I noticed about last game is Wild Turtle's hawk shots were actually really effective.
Yeah.
The way TSM played around it, that's not something Caitlyn would bring. And TSM as a team doesn't look to that bottom lane to win in most of their games. Obviously, you would like it to be a place where you can dominate, but it just hasn't been in the cards for them. So they then go with the utility-focused Ashe and hope to utilize that hawk shot.
Yeah, able to play more than aggressive enough in the mid-game. I mean, they were pushing the lane, they got the first turret, like they still did what they needed to do, but in that situation, if you're Caitlyn, you go around, you siege more turrets. This way, TSM are able to start more fights and be more proactive, so maybe there's that as well. Karma though banned for TSM, Syndra banned for Echo Fox, so we might actually see almost a complete run back of Big Ban.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's trending towards. The bans have been remarkably similar, even though they've switched sides of the map. I can absolutely see TSM going with Maokai Orianna instead of Nautilus Orianna.
Yep, that's true.
And the thing with the Echo Fox team last game is, yes, they fell behind, and it's always going to look worse when you're behind, but the actual initiation and who is going to make the plays for you is fairly limited onto Froggen. So the fact they've gone straight back to those champions means they think it was more a matter of the play and not the team comp.
Well, looks like a tank is on the horizon for Hansa. Nort was banned, so we have to adjust here. Gragas has also been picking up a lot of popularity, and it is locked in.
Yeah, tank Gragas, a thing that you can do. It's much more popular also because it can be a flex pick right now, but just with the general nerfs we've seen in the top lane tanks, I can see him coming back into the meta. Not a huge carry.
Nope. Does what he needs to do. So we'll see what happens there for Haunts' play on that champion, but Ari out for Froggen. Could have pretty easily guessed that one, but Gate's going to go back to Zyra. This is actually a change I like. Tahm Kench just got run over in the 2v2.
Yeah, and he never got to a point where he was tanky enough to be melee in these fights. So the Zyra definitely brings a whole bunch more damage. And Lulu is okay against Zyra because you can kind of kill the plants, but I do feel like when Zyra and Malzahar were better, those were also some of the things that were kind of keeping Lulu down, as the poke can be pretty oppressive in that lane.
Not without risk, I will say, as Bjergsen likely going to run back to Orianna here. I mean, there is the Ori pick for TSM. pretty much running the draft back. Gragas is the only change with Nautilus being banned away. But I think, yeah, for Echo Fox, just a little bit more playmaking where they need it. Keith on another safe AD carry. Arcadian and Froggen can still do their thing. Looper's on a comfort pick that is very strong in this meta. Gate's been the other big playmaker to me for Echo Fox. He usually gets stuff going. He's a big voice for the team. He's kind of a cheerleader, which I think a lot of supports turn into in some ways for their teams. And like Echo Fox just need, if they're going to play the way they did in game one and just try and really steamroll early, just give themselves more carries. And this is kind of that.
Yeah, they're trying to make it so anyone can potentially do damage. And it also gives their bottom lane a little bit more kill threat and hopefully a little bit more pushing power to give Acadian more freedom with where he goes. But looking at the team compositions overall, Paster Time, 8 of the 10 champions that existed in game 1 exist in game 2, and that game wasn't even close. So a lot of times I do prefer when you see a larger mix-up between games 1 and 2. But even TSM, when they're losing game 1, are just as likely to keep with the same thing. So I can see why teams want more practice on a pick or have scrimmed well with a set of champions that they're willing to pull back to them. And I think that's what Echo Fox is doing.
Well, see what happens if they can get themselves a better start. That's always the way Echo Fox want to start their games. I think I have to look to Arcadian here. Got continually tracked by Wild Turtle and his hawk shots. TSM had very smart wards to make sure they tracked the jungler. And he just never got off the ground. Even when he invaded and found Svenskeren, couldn't get that kill either. So like, yeah, Arcadian was just put down the whole game. And then the one opportunity he got turned around twice. Bifrost run for the second one, didn't convert the kill on the first one. Arcadian needs things to break his way a little bit more this game.
Yeah, and everything was breaking for Arcadian at the start of the split, where he was getting first blood in pretty much every game he entered. And it's pretty much impossible to maintain that level of success, but I actually feel like some of that has negatively impacted Acadian, at least at this point in this split, because since he was so successful going for so many of those early ganks, it's almost over-prioritizing his mentality to go for these plays early on in the game when they may not actually be there.
This is interesting there. Froggen and Bjergsen actually meeting very early on. That's because TSM are busy invading for some deep vision once more. Again, that deep Raptor ward's going to be put into that brush and give them the early info. And TSM also warded up their Raptor side here. Looks like Haunter's scouting out for Looper as well. Doesn't have his trinket, but he's going to face check once again. Should feel pretty happy about this though. Gets the barrel down, although Acadian actually might be able to turn this around. Q is going to land Haunter, man. He probably has to burn the flash. Thunderlord's going to proc. He's just going to get burnt down. No flash will follow, but Haunter once again will start without flash. Hard mode, Legal Edge.
You gotta stop doing that, Haunter, really, because he's not gaining anything by running into that brush. Technically, they know where Acadian and Looper now are, but the flash burn is just not worth it. It puts his early laning phase in such a disadvantage.
And again, Echo Fox still got the ward that they wanted, so they just hung out in the tri-bush. Maybe they don't get that. Instead, Echo Fox get a flash and get the vision down that they need, so definitely a curious start there for Haunter, but he'll return back to lane. Shouldn't miss too much here. And Sven's going to start his Raptors without help, although Bjergsen is going to do a little bit. I think he actually... No, he didn't get one. It was close, though.
But again, not a great pull. One thing that you normally do with top lane Gragas, if you want, is to leave a barrel on that camp at the very start and then still make it up to top lane so you can leave a barrel on the rift for so long before exploding it and give a really powerful pull to Svenskeren. But because they couldn't give that much of a pull, he's doing a much more standard low health clear, which is what usually happens to Rengar, especially on this patch since his base armor was nerfed. Svenskeren, not very healthy run to the jungle here.
See if things change in the bottom lane 2v2. Looks like Bifrost and Wild Turtle already off to the early push advantage. Lulu Ash is pretty good at that, so that all makes sense. But curious to see if Gate can kind of turn things around a bit more in the lane.
Is that a new Zyra skin?
Yes, that's Dragon Stalker Zyra.
Yeah. I don't pay much attention to skins, but it looks pretty cool,
The
actually.
new purple one.
The new purple Zyra skin.
That's what I...
That's the official name.
Yeah. Dragon Sorcerer Zyra. That's it.
Go.
Shout out to production. That's Svenskeren going to hang out with the Scuttle Crab. Nope, walks past it, wants to find Arcadian. Tricks me, hops back onto it. But yeah, not a smart idea to face check the Lee Sin with not too much health as Rengar. But making sure they secure vision over here. Look at these cool new spell effects.
Okay, we can stop.
I'm done.
Yeah. Either way, they're still getting shoved in that bottom lane. Nothing much doing early on in the game, right? Svenskeren doing the full clear was unable to pull off anything quick. Acadian also not going for the early ganks at all. Complete change from what he did in the last game. We'll see if he does something on the second rotation.
Nice bop there from Haunter. Does manage to get Looper with I think the max range of the body slam there. Also curious to note that he has gone Grasp of the Undying, so maybe looking to fight a little bit more. We've seen quite a lot of Grasp. Oh, sorry, Code of the Colossus on Gragas instead, but Haunter opting for a bit more combat effectiveness. And Bjergsen and Froggen continuing to trade. Bjergsen kind of ran away with this lane eventually, but we'll see if Froggen can maybe call for some help and get a bit more damage done.
Yeah, the Grasp is definitely better in the laning phase for Haunter, which isn't a great one, to be fair. Rumble does a lot of work against melee matchups, and Gragas not as naturally strong in lane early on as the Nautilus against Rumble, so even forcing him back. Svenskeren is here to stop though.
Yeah, Sven is here and now. They immediately pull out of the dive. Double belly slam though. Slow down onto Arcadian Sven. He's going to flash forward, but Haunter still had to clear the last minion out. I think they thought they were going to land a turret shot, but Echo Fox get out.
Yeah, that was the big thing. If the timing was any different in that situation, the dive was just about to begin for Echo Fox, and if turret Egger would have been grabbed, that would have been a kill over to TSM, but instead, it is just the junglers trading flashes.
Ooh, Total though getting rooted up. Damage now going to come out from the Zyra plants. Firefrost pretty quickly kills them with the Glitter Lance, but you can see already this lane matchup just looking a little sturdier for the Echo Fox 2v2. Jungle pressure going to continue though. Arcadian still trying to find the Rengo. He's going to spot him, but Sven finds him first. Arcadian doesn't have a flash, and now Sven's going to keep chasing. Bjergsen first to the area, but Arcadian away with the speed train. Sven instead just gets that control ward, and he's going to take that ward down as well.
Yeah, good vision control in the river, but outside of that, not much doing. It will also potentially give Svenskeren a bit of an XP advantage because Arcadian has to recall to base yet again before he can get a solid buy.
Looks like Haunter's going to have to go back early though. 10 CS down, likely going to TP back to lane, so Lupa feeling pretty good about the early lane phase, and I do like that Arcadian went up there. Again, Sven, great timing to deflect that gank, but things, again, just kind of evening out, and that means that the advantage Lupa has in lane, he'll carry for a little while longer. Haunting guy's now picked up for Rumble, so he's going to feel good there, and Haunter actually delayed his recall here, going to get a few more creeps and then go back, maybe looking at a more specific item timing.
Yeah, he'd love to have enough to get a Spectre's Cal, and I think that's what he's going for right now in the lane, and should be able to shove that into the turret. So still, that slow and conservative early laning phase, and if we look at the way the first game played out, that does still favor TSM just because of how strong their 5v5 team fight is with the tank line and the shielding they can offer with Ori and Lulu.
Well, can't quite get to the Cal, doesn't feel safe enough, so a second Doran's ring for Haunter. And then he's got those two pieces, the Null Magic and the Ruby Crystal. Did TP back to lane. Lupa held on to his, so that's kind of the trade. Summoner spell-wise, as Bifrost continuing to take pokes, but looks like Keith's already backed away. Needed the early tier, has the call now as well. Bifrost though snared up. Ignite for Kate. This could be first blood to the support. He shields himself, and there's not quite enough left to burn through.
Yeah, I mean, really just trying to get that wave into the turret so they could go back and buy, and we've seen a lot of supports even die when trying to do that. Good attempt on the punish from Gate, getting two summoner spells, or a heal for his Ignite, rather.
Good stuff there. Bifrost had 25 actual health left by the end of that exchange. Of course, the shield helping out quite a lot there. But no first blood given over just yet. And these are the kinds of things that Gate can do on that pick, so it's kind of why I like the shift, although Svenskeren now going to return the favor after Arcadian's attempt in top lane. Not level 6 for the Rengar, but Haunter does have his ultimate.
Yeah, so the potential to put Looper in a bad situation, but not nearly as fed as they would want to be. I think Svenskeren mainly up there for counter gank.
Yeah, you can see the control ward in the tri-bush there, kind of spotting any obvious paths. As Froggen is going to go ahead and take his blue buff. He got the last one stolen in game 1, so things looking quite a bit better. Bjergsen doesn't have his just yet, but not too worried about it. Should have plenty of mana with that lost chapter, and Blue's going to be coming up soon enough for Spencer move over there and donate. So again, kind of just a tame start to this game here. Bottom lane again, dueling. Level 6 maybe has an impact here in an all-in, but I'm not sure Total really wants to get that aggressive with that. I mean, Bifrost does have Ignite, so yeah, there are possibilities.
There are, but also knowing that they're down teleports on the top side, they have to be pretty careful with what they engage on. Not to mention Keith and Gate are pushed in for a lot of this lane.
So Sven gonna try it onto Froggen again. Haunter actually pretty far forward, but Lupa was hiding in a brush. Gonna try burn down, but the wave's actually in Hauntz's favor. Sven gonna go back in. Froggen looking for the all-in. Almost gets the kill, but Arcadian's here, and now that's Svenskeren having to move out of the way. Does get the arrow onto Froggen, but Sven cannot follow up.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, Froggen landed so much burst onto Bjergsen that entire game was turned around early. Svenskeren just the overly patient strategy, really, but it ends up paying off super well, also getting harassment down onto Froggen.
Yeah, had just enough ultimate left to try and get damage in, but Bjerg blew both his summoners to live through that, and Turtle had to commit his ultimate, so Arcadian now going to get spotted. Might have thought about lining up a dive. Monster and Looper going to get aggressive once again. I don't expect anyone to really die here 1v1 in top lane. And now Blue back over to Bjergsen. Probably going to go back, finish up that first item, and feel a bit better about the lane after Froggen's initial kill attempt. Arcadian's kind of hanging around, does have his ultimate, but I think it's for information more than anything else. So you can see, yeah, Bjergsen just got charmed there.
Yeah, I mean, he cleanses as well as having to flash away because Froggen may have followed into a Lee Sin follow, who then would have been in range for a flash kick, which is why he decided to jump back. But
oh, boss going over. Now Arcadian's on the wrong side. TP in from Echo Fox. Haunter doesn't have his, but Arcadian already getting burnt down. Ezreal ulti, not quite there, and now Turtle's just going to run back in. Arcadian looking for the kick, tries to outplay Bifrost, doesn't quite have enough, and first blood goes to Svenskeren.
Such a close move. It looked like Haunter interrupted Looper's teleport with an explosive cast as well, but that was Arcadian just trying to desperately make it out of a really rough situation. The Blast Cone play that put him inside the Grump jungle really put him out of position, and they were potentially prepping a dive, but once again, Svenskeren was there to shut it down.
And that's first blood over to Rengar one more time for TSM, and there's the Warrior enchantment now completed. Svenskeren, already you can see, I mean, the farm, it will lie to you. There are varying amounts of total creeps you get in the jungle camps, but certainly there's an advantage for Sven.
Yeah, it's roughly 800 gold right now, and you get 400 from the first blood, so still out farming. Watching this again. Nice! The explosive cast right there since he was not standing on top of the ward, but the Q flash R followed through Q by Arcadian, very nearly getting the kill on a Bifrost. Noble effort, just not quite enough damage by him.
Good flash from Bifrost to get out of range of Tempest. Now Bjergsen just going to chill out. Does have a null-magic mantle, so might be itemizing a little more defensively early on. Merc Tread's certainly a good buy versus Ahri, but we'll see if he does go all the way to something like a Negatron Cloak and then eventually an Abyssal. But I mean, pressure is here, but Bjergsen able to pretty easily dodge out these ganks. Gate and Bifrost, though, going to have another exchange, but Bifrost ready this time. Good early scan, just to make sure Gate wasn't trying to kill him again.
Yeah, a lack of vision in the river by TSM, which is why Bifrost is going through and trying to regain it. He's successful in getting a ward down, but he takes a bunch of damage from those annoying Zyra plants that still exist.
Still annoying. I mean, Zyra certainly dropped like very heavily as far as overall play goes, but the power of the champion is much the same. And again, a very tame early game. TSM up, still 1,300 gold. To see if Svenskeren can maybe push his advantage a little bit more, or if TSM are just happy with the pace of this game. I mean, they were able to find pretty straightforward fights for themselves. Set up dives, look to be proactive, but the team comp also scales just fine. So you don't need to rush if they don't feel like you're in a good position to.
Exactly, and that's also a discussion that's been happening a lot lately about whether or not a team has to win fast for it to be considered a good win. And I think generally speaking, the answer is no. As long as you have a clear win condition that you're playing towards, you're not missing opportunity. But this is a tough spot. Terrible equalizer.
Cleanse again, but Looper flashing forward. Shockwave's going to move him back, but Froggen still gets the kill. Svenskeren trying to answer back. Looks for Froggen, who flashes out of the way. Looper, though, tied up by the bowler, but burns Svenskeren back down. Looper might even look to chase here as Haunter's also roamed down. That's going to be a flash force. The Harpoon is going to miss, but Haunter, we're going to try and make the outplay. Looper back towards the turret. Great little boom there as Arcadian comes back in. Kicks Haunter back to the team, but Bifrost with a wild growth. Going to maybe seal Froggen's fate here. Arcadian does get the snipe on the other side, I believe, as Svenskeren did finally fall. But now Arcadian chasing into TSM's jungle.
Yeah, Froggen snuck an Orb of Deception in at the back of that fight to get the kill on his Svenskeren, but Arcadian wants out.
Well, see if he can find it. Slow not going to hit there from Glitterlands, but Haunter gets his cast down. And Arcadian hasn't too many places to go. He's going to run towards Keith, but I'm not sure Keith has enough. Heal actually might be able to save him, and now Keith could be in trouble. Is they going to look to take him down?
Oh, no.
Ezreal's been ignited. There's the flash burner. Haunter just will not be stopped. He belly bumps Keith, and now looks for Arcadian. Gets the double kill with the cast.
Oh no, Keith was just trying to help. Arcadian brought him into it. This fight started about a minute ago, which is what we're watching right now, and the equalizer completely misses. But aside from the equalizer, Looper played the rest of that fight well, especially right here where he overheats as Svenskeren jumps in and gets through, making it so Svenskeren can't follow up. But then it just keeps going. Keith is trying to get damage on the top side as Ash is trying to get damage on the bottom side. Sidesteps the body slam, but takes an equal amount of damage from the turret. Then pops in. Biofrost is early on the roam, allows Hunter to get a bunch of damage. And as you notice, that Froggen sneak kill onto Svenskeren, who's getting a little greedy.
I did wonder how he died.
His face was just in there.
Yeah, I mean, all the way to top lane from mid lane. It was an extended little passage, but TSM do manage to get themselves a double kill. Haunter all of a sudden has 3 to his name. Raptor's going to be contested there by Froggen, who I think picked up a few little ones, but TSM once again off to a pretty good gold lead, approaching 4,000 at 14 minutes in.
Yeah, just like that after a nice series of events. Another fight happening in the mid lane.
I'm going to miss. TP in. Looper already locked down. Does get the equalizer down to cut off the escape path, but Arrow going to land in. Finds Looper. He's going to hit it. Now Haunter looking for the alley. Gets Looper back in. Wild throw for the extra knockup, and Bjergsen collects his prize. Looper goes down.
Oh, man. Successful Asher, but the overall play actually doesn't give too many rewards. They've left the top lane completely undefended, and it's allowing Keith to take it down. The question will be whether or not TSM can get that second turn in the bottom side off the fight win.
Well, it looks like 3 members down here already. Wild Turtle got the Q stacks maxed out. Just slapping away at the turret. Good little ult there from Gate's gonna knock up 2. Plan still dealing damage to Sven as that wave's gone now as well. Good defense there from Gate. Haunter gonna come up though and try and save this top turret. Should be able to do so. Keith isn't very strong right now.
And dive top, maybe.
Maybe, but that means the turret is going to go down. Gate committed everything to try and save it, and now Haunter is actually on the Keith, who's tanking turret shots. Looper coming up, he needs to hit the turret. He's going to look to get it. Arcadian up here as Zod kicks him in towards the wall. Q's going to land in, and Haunter does get the belly bop down, but that's not enough. Style from Arcadian, and Keith grabs himself the shutdown.
Yeah, turrets are still traded across the map, and TSM gets the Cloud Drake, but being able to shut down the Gragas can be quite beneficial for them, so can't really fault Echo Fox for that play, as they now get to also get control of this jungle of TSM's red buff.
Yeah, Keith's component is now going to transform into some real items as well, sitting on about 1,400 gold as he goes back to recall. So Manamune now done. I imagine it'll be Trinity Force next, but we have seen some Iceborne gauntlets every now and then.
Yeah, especially against super physical heavy teams, which this does not seem like one. But you've also seen it against Rengar just to try and prevent the famous Rengar one-shot that ends up happening sometimes. Not a bad game for Keith so far, but it is still another tall task for Echo Fox.
Nice play from TSM to kind of continue assaulting that bottom tier 2 and making sure the trade happened. Haunter very nearly saved it. Keith's heroic turret shot tanking almost got himself killed, but nice collapse there from Echo Fox to turn it around. And Froggen with another good charm. Bjergsen just going to keep running forward. He knows his team's behind him. Froggen. Ari's definitely one of those champions where it can look very good or very bad, although this definitely looks bad for Turtle. Ari onto Looper is flashed away. Biofrost there to save his 80 carry, but now Svenskeren going to try and take him down.
No flash, no ult on Looper, and a minion wave approaching. He's probably dead.
No arrow either, but there's a crit. It's going to be a kill for Svenskeren. Wild Turtle was bait all along.
Yeah, and turret's going down on the other side. That's always what Wild Turtle is. It's just an extended bait. You know, he's been playing this game for 4 years. When you die out of position, it just makes you think you're going to get it the next time. It all led up to that moment where he pulled Looper out of the brush in the top lane. But just another one of those plays that is mostly a trade, and TSM slightly extend their lead.
Oh, looks for Arcadian. Good knock up there from Gragas. It looks like blue buff's going to go over. Haunter not going to be able to take it. Arcadian smites it away. TSM still on the push here. Looks like both teams are actually just trying to knock down turrets here. Echo Fox have decided, you know what? Don't really like fighting TSM head on right now. We're just going to try and take gold away and at least get some trades for ourselves.
Yeah, and it's better than last game, but it's still not putting them in a position to win. They're still not, when they are making a play, it's almost always a trade, and it is slightly favoring on the side of TSM, who is still stacking up towards that super tank, strong team fight with the carry who can get shielded from 2 sources.
Yep, should be happy with the 3,000 gold lead. Got the first Drake as well. Next one will be spawning in a couple minutes. See if the teams want to fight a little more over the Inferno, because that first Cloud Drake just kind of felt like an afterthought for TSM. With all the advantage they built up, Keith's gonna snag some honey fruit and roam back down towards this bottom lane here. Try and make sure he picks up some farm for himself. And again, Fox are happy to just farm it out for a little while longer and get whatever gold they can. It is curious to see that plays aren't really being set up. That arrow is sick, though.
Well, that's a setup. He has ultimate, but no turret, and there are people on the way.
Venture's helping out, but this lane is long, and Looper only got his ultimate. Svenskeren gonna lock him down again. Fights him on the equalizer, and Bifrost grabs his first kill.
Yeah, probably didn't want to pick that one up, but ends up doing it by accident. Lulu still has good gold scaling, so it's not the end of the world when he picks up the kill. And this has just been kind of the story of the series for Looper, where he is not near the same page of the rest of his team. He is pushing up waves where he has no safety, and he is getting heavily punished for it.
Turtle even shoving that wave in, but doesn't want to overcommit to trying to take the turret. Jefferson still getting mid lane pushed in. Oh, Hansa kills Keith. What happened there?
What? A Glacial Shroud.
Oh, good shockwave as well. That should be a kill. Bifrost flashes for the secure.
Yep. There we go. That's just 2 kills, seemingly out of nowhere for TSM, and that's really going to break this game a little bit open. Baron not quite up yet. I want to see that Gragas kill again, even though Bjergsen's kill was also pretty solid onto Frog and catching him with the shockwave. This is a really big power play for TSM.
Yeah, and breaking the mid turret here means a lot for TSM's just position in this game. We're kind of seeing that, you know, Sidos are being traded. Flash from Gate's going to move out from under the arrow. But that turret falls down. TSM find themselves up a healthy chunk of gold. And now they have the map to play with. We're going to watch what happened here.
Full health Ezreal.
Full
a little
health
slow on the response. But still doesn't end up with the Q. But the fight just continues, and he's getting multiple grass procs. Keith late on the flash on the barrel. Heals into a wall. And then as he tries to blast go, he gets the final hit. Narrow margins, but to kill a Ezreal 1v1 and burn both summoners as well, not something you see every day before he's got anything like a Glacial Shroud on the Gragas.
Now he has the Iceborne Gauntlet, so it's going to be
that'll be easier.
Even easier for him to take down Keith. Keith does have a Trinity Force, though. Probably going to get eat up there and slowed by Bifrost. Turtle already with 2 items completed as I hear a Rengar ulti. Svenskeren looking to hunt down a few members of Echo Fox, finds Kate! Effortless kill there for the Rengar. Shields to keep him safe, and again, Svenskeren's just, he's been on like a hunting trip this whole series.
Yeah, this has been a downward trajectory in this game. It's turning into looking very similar to Game 1 Pace Your Time. And this Echo Fox team is just not having the games they want to have, still trying to make something happen.
Yeah, TSM though continuing to just play well defensively. Bjergsen, threatens with the shockwave, and Echo Fox going to be forced back towards this tier 2 turret. Shockwave also here for a potential siege breaker, and now Haunted is onto Arcadian. They're going to try and combo him down. Svenskeren on a killing spree as he gets another frog, and already committed the ulti. He just does charm Turtle, but the turret falls down, and Echo Fox cannot follow up.
Yeah, now ballooning to 7,500 gold plus the Infernal Drake. TSM, we were talking about how they had that slow early game, but they are making a lot of these plays which are very low risk. They're just finding the mistakes from Echo Fox and punishing them again and again, and it's then turning into higher percentage plays, which have higher rewards.
Yep.
And I think against a lot of other teams, this would be a slower game, but Echo Fox is making a lot of mistakes that are being punished by TSM.
And they're certainly making more mistakes this time around. Yes, they're trying more, but it's also costing them when it doesn't work out. I mean, last game, TSM played very well together and just cleanly moved through the map and were able to just use their comp and find whatever opportunity they could, and they kind of got a lot of them with the leads they have. We've seen way more individual contributions this game from TSM, but that's mostly because Echo Fox are messing up rather than Haunter's like massively outplaying Keith in a 1v1.
Yeah, and Haunter and Svenskeren are the main carries, and you know, Haunter did massively outplay Keith in the 1v1 if you're just averaging the play between the two of them, because Keith made a lot of mistakes in that 1v1, and it's not like you can just signal out one person on Echo Fox right now. So much of the criticism does fall onto Keith because he has a lot of high-profile mistakes, but you have to look at Looper as well, who was the massive off-season acquisition, who was supposed to come in and dominate the NALCS from the top lane, and against a lot of teams, he is just not on the same page as his team. His champion pool doesn't seem to fit the meta. He's playing a lot of Swain or Rumble, which, while the champion can bring a lot of damage, does not do much to set up or help the team. And then even when he's on those champions that he should be dominant on. He's just positioning on the map really poorly. So, yes, you can point at Keith for being a low performer, but Looper is so far under expectations from before the year.
I have to agree. And again, it's just like Echo Fox are messing up more because they're trying to push themselves to do more in this game. So TSM are finding more moments because, hey, they're just coming up more often. I mean, TSM will play clean games whenever they get an opportunity to, but when they find opportunities like this, they'll take them as well. Gate is going to get arrowed and crushed down. Looks like Oriana got credit for that one. So Svenskeren and Spree will stop for now, but 6 turrets to 2. Looper trying to get a push going in the bottom side of the map, but Baron is available, and Haunter is going to run straight towards it.
Yeah, this would be a situation where Echo Fox wants to try and get back. They have a Rumble ultimate that they can throw in the Baron pit, and he's teleporting way behind. Question is, can he get there in time, and can TSM avoid it? Wild Turtle's already pretty low.
Not even there, by the way. He's actually looking for the flank.
That means TSM wants to fight.
Might be a bait all along. Keith, the first target. Arcadian going to get knocked up. Wild Growth there. He's going to get himself out of the way. Redemption, they're going to heal TSM back up as they look to reset. Keith flashes the shockwave, but TSM kind of running out of cooldowns. Keith backing onto Haunter. Echo Fox actually playing quite well around this terrain.
Yeah.
TSM have to stop the attempt.
A misplay on that TSM initiation for sure. Stacking the Wild Growth with the Gragas Cask and not locking down Arcadian for the kill and actually knocking him to safety. Gives Echo Fox the turret off of that play.
Well, it's a good one to break as well. Now the 3 outers down on the Echo Fox side have a lot more breathing room around the map as they need to continue contesting TSM for these objectives. TSM, I imagine, will just get things going in the waves once again, but Baron is easily on the table for TSM given their lead, and they'll always be looking to set up for it. Although Bifrost might even just try and chase one down. Arrow's going to miss this time. Good goal there from Wild Turtle, but unfortunately doesn't get his team a kill.
Yeah, and he also took a bunch of damage while making that chase from the Ahri, which makes this Baron Force a little bit more difficult. No natural lifesteal on Wild Turtle here outside of his masteries, so that'll be enough at least.
Yeah, looks like it. It might have a little bit. I guess the Doran's Blade with the Hurricane.
Yeah, true.
Doing okay. But yeah, Turtle back to full. Feels healthy enough at least. And again, TSM just posturing back around the Baron. They've got the top wave pushing. Haunter with the teleport, making sure he gets business done in the bottom lane. And the Ezreal ultimate now down as they needed to check the Baron area. TSM just happy to play patient. Even Total's going to recall. TSM know we don't need to rush this. Total trolls me. He actually isn't recalling, and TSM are starting Baron.
Yeah, just because the play didn't work last time doesn't mean they can't go back to it. They're still blacking out the Baron area and potentially looking to fight if Echo Fox approaches.
Haunter's ready. Equalizer cuts up Turtle. Decent bit of damage there. But Svenskeren just going to back away. Haunter does come in, looks for Arcadian again. Now he's going to get arrowed. Ulti back into the team. It's that time it works. And TSM now in a 5v4.
Yeah, they're now trying to reset the fight with Redemption, but there's still a double buff Ezreal as well as an Ahri with ultimate. This is pretty dangerous for TSM still.
With no jungler, they're going to try and force it. Game flashes in for it, but he's going to get snared up and killed. Looper, though, in the back, going to try and get the damage out as the Wild Growth looks to save Haunter. Shockwave finds Strong, and Bjergsen deletes him. And now the Baron is available. TSM take the Baron, take it all, and take the team fight win. Keith is the only one left alive, and if he dies, TSM, they tank Baron and get the ace.
Yeah, and that's actually not something you see very often. A team fighting 5v4 inside their Baron pit, and it working. That just kind of goes to speak to how far ahead TSM is and how they had Haunter just tanking so many of the Baron shots. They're going to get a ton out of this push.
Well, they're going to get at least 2 inhibs by the looks of things. Might even try and push down and take some of those Nexus turrets as well. Inhib tower in the mid falls down, and Inhibitor's going to fall. And now TSM translate left, and they're going to keep following down and get themselves a second. They'll back away after that. There is no need for them to overextend, but massive advantage now compounded through one very epic team fight.
Yeah, and TSM plays the long game right here. They see the Rumble ult go down. They go for a bit of a disengage, and Haunter then gets the pick on the one person who could smite steal the Baron and make it a huge disaster. Reset with Redemption, and then go back on, but there's still a lot to worry about. Gate, this is what I was worried about if you're TSM right there. He could flash in, get the ultimate down on your team, but it actually only hits, I believe, Biofrost as far as who it knocks up, and Bjergsen flashed out to zone Froggen, so Froggen never made it inside the pit, and Bjergsen takes care of him on the side, which then is only leaving the one Rumble and the Ezreal who's poking with Qs, which is manageable. So a lot of things had to go right for that play to work out for TSM, but it definitely goes right as they get 5 kills and the Baron.
Yeah, a tough one to do, but they do it. And pass the test with flying colors. You can see Keith outputted a ton of damage in that last team fight, so Echo Fox were trying, but Froggen not really able to get too much done. Bjergsen zoned him wonderfully in that exchange. And now there's just one more inhibitor left for TSM to try and take, and they have a minute 45 on this Baron buff to do it.
And they already have the Svenskeren inside the base with his ultimate up. They have level 16 on the Orianna, so Bjergsen, we already saw one-shotting Froggen. Froggen still no magic resist on that build, so that is, again, a possibility. A very powerful push coming in from TSM. They're going to try to end it pre-30 minutes.
So many options here. Haunter again leaps forward, looks for Keith, finds Kate, instead alley-oop! Haunter gets one, and now TSM gonna break the last few structures left. Keith almost eats the arrow, but now it's Arcadian as the rest of the team hops away, but they'll just take the inhibitors and look to take down the Nexus turrets. Redemption down, Arcadian getting chunked by Bjergsen, and Froggen is going to try and make the big play back in. Bjergsen does get kicked in by Arcadian, but Turtle does manage to take the Lycian down. Keith now going to move back in, but he just can't get a kill. Nexus is going to be exposed. TSM take the turrets. Turtle grabs himself a quadra kill. Sven steals the Penta, and TSM sweep the series.
Just back-to-back aces in the last 3 minutes for TSM, and they pair up some sub-30-minute wins against Echo Fox. Yesterday, the story was TSM needing to find consistency, needing to find ways where they can 2-0 because they had that atrocious loss to FlyQuest in Game 1, followed by them getting stronger throughout the series. This day, it was a completely different story. TSM, from start to finish, looked dominant.
They did, and didn't even need to really make too many plays for themselves. Found their moments, but played even slower in Game 2, and just still felt comfortable ramping into the mid-game. Like, this is the form we expect from this team. Sure, TSM, I'm sure, will still be thinking, you know, we can clean things up, things can get better. They put so much pressure on themselves to perform in the postseason, and they've only got 1 week left of the regular season to play. It is against an opponent they should be favored against, but it's good for them to look clean here.
Yeah, it definitely is, and they already have had a 2-match win advantage over Cloud9 for that #1 seed. This pushes them within 1 game of clinching, or if Cloud9 loses a match next week. So TSM really wanted to get that #1 seed. That's what Bjergsen talks about. He wants to be dominant. He needs to be on a dominant team as far as almost what his happiness is concerned, and they are in a position to do that after their performance this week.
Yep, certainly looking good. We'll take one more look at that big Baron fight, because that was really the turning point. I mean, a very difficult to manage fight. Yes, TSM were in a position where they were ahead enough to do this, but most teams would not opt into this.
Yeah, exactly, and even TSM had tried to play like this before, which they then backed off of because they couldn't get a clean enough fight. But the absolute CC lock onto Acadian there, if he can't dodge the arrow in the first place, followed by this. Notice the Orianna ball zoning them out. Gate goes in, but Froggen actually goes immediately out, and Looper already has his ultimate down. So never did Echo Fox really get their AoE onto the squishy people, and Froggen just couldn't get through that zone once he walked away from the fight. That leads to the rest of this fight where TSM can just use their move speed to chase Keith down and complete the ace.
Instant polymorph is up from Biofrost. Like TSM, this is a team that can execute high-level stuff. I mean, again, in an advantage position versus a team like Echo Fox, we're not gonna, you know, it's not a huge play, but it is good to see these sorts of things. High risk, high reward, and they're rewarded.
Exactly. This was a team that was first place in the standings against a team that comes in 8th place in the standings, so it's not too surprising that it was a 2-0, but TSM wanted to make this clean, and they did.
Certainly looking good, but for more on that TSM 2-0, let's send it over to Freak and Mark Z.
Thank you very much, Pacer Time. Great cast today to you.